Are you shooting, Uncle Ben?
Yep. You're all on. Where are we at, Greg?
Here we are.
Do a little bit of narrating here. Where are we?
Welcome, everybody. Guerrero, sports fans, and doors everywhere. We're in beautiful Del Mar, California, where the turf meets the surf and the Guerreros come down at San Diego.
All right.
And Uncle
Uncle Jim Blois is in convalescence from his operation.
Well, let's take a look at
that did all the damage.
And Big Mike, who slowed them all up. Get it again. Okay, get on there.
This is what I mean.
Oh, isn't that
Thank
nice?
you. It's
Yeah.
just a little trimming.
$7,000 in an education at UCLA gets you about this far. Not very far.
Good therapy.
Not a real wise investment.
Now, baby, get over here. Billy.
Let's take a look at Jim.
Uncle, you're on. You're on.
We were stable right next to the body.
Yeah, everybody just shoot on through here.
Him and I had a meeting with Big Bell. He used to go way off the water. Robert Bell's trained, so I knew him pretty well.
Hiya, Jim.
Are you Nicole?
How you feeling?
Pretty good.
Jim is telling an interesting story. Who's Nicole?
Oh, is he?
About when Del Mar opened in 1937, he was here for the opening.
Oh, I thought I heard that kind of a story before. You know, I thought you were from around here.
Yeah, that's right. I'm from, it's actually known as a hammer down in Chula Vista.
What does that mean, hammer? Why do they call you hammer?
We're very good friends. We're from Reno also.
Benny. About that, he started digging. Way back, he wanted to go back.
I'm going to find it because I know how to do it. I'm searching it through the Mormons.
I can't do that.
Look at her.
Take that.
Linda going after Monica. Take that. Linda going after Monica. Look up.
Oh, she's special.
To make for this many people. So I think I'll just make hors d'oeuvres. I have the pockets. I can cook them and cut them.
Hey, sister.
Yeah, sister.
I had an omelet this morning that's going to last the whole day, so don't worry
Yeah,
about
well, I had saved about pockets, but no way can I even start. Don't worry about it. Oh, I can't. No, I won't. I'm going to make those hard.
You gotta see it. You gotta see that.
I'm going to have a drink first. Here, one drink. You want mine?
I mean, just the borderline here is.
I like that. Do you have a fancy stereo in it?
So they can appreciate the country track.
So we got to get Margaret Visit.
We are.
I'm glad they came out with the car to keep it in business. He said, Linda, this is how we walk in the blue. We had to trace it. We're used.
Here we go. No, the car's not running.
How is it? Pretty good?
Anyway, they go very slow.
What the hell?
Brand neck.
Yeah. How about a big smile, Doc? There
There you go.
Did you get a chance to hit the ball today?
I went and watched the golf match today. George and I, in fact.
Yeah, that's nice weather down there, huh?
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Over 30,000 people there.
Great.
We're right in the midst of them.
Benny made negative.
We enjoyed it very much. We just timed it just right for you people to come over.
Good.
It's fun.
Glad you enjoyed it.
Look at Uncle Manuel there.
Yes, sir.
Did you still listen? Auntie Margaret goes there.
Ask your mother.
I did. But he should have asked you.
Mark, Millie,
Well, I'm busy here, so
No,
I can't go with you.
let you go. I asked you if me, Nicole, and Lori can go.
Hey, you know it better than we do.
Can we? Okay.
Wait a minute, don't go away so fast. Say goodbye to the folks.
Goodbye.
Hi, David.
Bye, Daddy.
Photograph, in other words, Jim and Mike, but you can't photograph us, right?
That's right.
You need another.
Okay.
You
I
need
got
another.
you.
You need another.
That's
You
right.
better take
I
a
just
shade.
look like the shadow, huh?
You ever take a shading of raisin and the sun just walked in.
You must be talking about my lovable big brother. My brother-in-law.
Hey,
Who
take
just
a,
moved. There he is.
you better take all the pictures of this guy while he's still alive because he has long to live. He's beating himself too much.
I bet you're hoping for that. Those golf clubs, huh?
Oh, hey. Well, Michael ruined the whole thing.
What do you think of that, Mike? Ma'am? Big brother, no comment, huh?
He's not gonna get my hands to say too
Well,
much.
how old are you going to be on the 28th?
62.
62?
Oh yeah, no quiet.
Man, look at,
Great.
man, look at this, folks.
Uncle, we
There's
haven't
a
even given the
62-year-old, is that a 62-year-old man?
No. Well, I'll
No
sell you a
way.
policy for a 42-year-old. We won't tell the
Man,
underwriter.
tell these
Picture?
Yeah. You want to do an insurance commercial?
No, I don't know what to say. I'm down a cow.
Yeah.
We got this 1970. Keep shooting. Here you go. We got a 1978. What is this thing called here? This is a 1978 Chrysler dinosaur van here. It was the top of the line. Yes, 10 gallons to the mile. We'll put you in this baby for your first son, your next 3 kids, and installments for the rest of your life.
Jim's doing fine. I just came back from the cabin, and I don't know, we're just all getting together here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
About
excuse
it.
me, Mike.
Yeah.
You dropped some of your medical tools.
Oh yeah,
right here.
this is
Oh, yeah.
yeah, these were some of the instruments they
Yeah.
used on Jim. This was in order to get his
Let's take a
nuts
look
off.
at this. Yeah, let's look at that another one.
Yeah, this was the denutter that I
Yeah,
used.
that's the
That
whole
was the
Yeah,
the operation.
yeah, okay.
And then I proceeded to screw up his rectum.
First thing I felt for after the operation.
Was that screw? Screwdriver?
Find out if the family jewels were still there.
Little Billy Boo. Say
Little
hi.
Billy Boo.
Hi. Say I'm a big boy.
Hi, Belly Boo.
Say I'm a big boy.
Hi, people.
Say we're gonna go talk to Auntie Margaret.
Have them do a dancing routine.
Okay. Shall we go outside?
We'll get that
When you
later.
sing the songs and stuff.
Yeah, we'll get that later. We're gonna go talk to Auntie
Okay, we'll
Margaret.
go outside.
Oh, where's Uncle Jim?
Bye-bye.
Who want to say hi to Uncle Jim? Here's Uncle Jim. Say hi, Uncle Jim.
Say hi, Uncle Jim.
You can say Jim. Say Jim.
Oh, boy.
Good, huh?
That's a boy.
Say, see you later.
Later, alligator. Hi.
But they were
Hi, Billy. What are you doing? Oh, I see. Who is this coming in to the picture?
Say it's
Monique. Say it's Monique. Monique. Hi, Monique.
Can you do a dance, Billy? La la la.
I don't care about this lady. I don't care what she did, whether she has children or not. I mean, you know, that doesn't bother me one bit. You don't feel any warmth.
Yeah.
Okay, the thing that I was saying about what you was that because of the way she is, I wouldn't necessarily
Sit down and listen to all that negative talk.
They're getting well, I want to hear the real story.
Well, I don't know if it's
That's what I want to hear.
Okay.
all I know.
Okay.
That's what I want to hear, the real story.
What your mother said is the truth, and you're the oldest.
Right. Well, you know,
Okay, quiet on the set.
Interpretation. That's what history is. You take from what
Exactly.
you want,
But
and then you make
don't you plan to
story the way you want it.
a believable person that's the oldest one
yeah,
more than the youngest one?
Yeah, but it's going to be a puzzle. Maybe some people are going to know a little bit more.
Now, how did my father meet my mother?
Yes.
Well, this is what I heard.
Wait a minute, where'd you hear it from?
I heard it from my mother.
Manuel, come on. Maybe you heard something too.
Come on, you know anything, brother?
You got right here. She can put your 2 cents.
Well, I remember my mother talking to me. She's the one that told me we had an illegitimate brother.
Oh, I never knew those things.
It's gonna be me.
No, not us.
Scratch that.
Yeah.
Scratch that.
wonder I look
Put
like
that
an
on the
idiot.
tape. Put that on the tape. Put it out.
Scratch it out.
I've
You never heard that. My
I'm
mother.
embarrassed. I'm embarrassed.
You didn't know that?
By her or by your
You told me something. That's my father's
young man.
sacrifice.
She was a maid in the home.
Well, he didn't marry till he was...
No.
It was pretty common.
That was very common. Isn't that all?
That was very common. And he carried the name, Guerrero. However, I don't remember her telling me what his first name was.
Maybe it's
And I would have, I wouldn't have felt strange at all.
No, he's okay. He wants to see Greg.
I would not have felt anything. I would have been happy to know this man. He was my father's blood. But, I don't remember what his first name was, but it was when my father was a young man.
Oh, I was for a milk.
He would be, I would say, at
Oh,
least
you
10 or
mean because
15
of the
years
beginning?
older
been a
than me.
male,
Why did you
yeah,
think that was?
It wouldn't have been Lila.
Suppose it was?
Oh, no, I heard the story before.
No, that would have been
Well, my neighbor in Hawaii.
Yeah, could be maybe related.
Guerrero.
And said that her father was from Monterey.
I told you.
His son. Well, your great-grandfather's from Monterey.
The first one? No.
See, she
The
never
name
really,
was a
she's
boy
part
that died.
Spanish.
Yes, but also the illegitimate.
Oh, I don't know about that. Like I say, I don't
Let's
know.
find out how they met.
Put
Your
that away.
mother and father. Come on, Monique.
Come
on, get down.
Find out how your mother
You know-
and
You know what, here?
Come on down.
tell how your mother and father met.
Now look at her.
Well, I have a postcard, and my mother told me that my father came to the United States to do something, and I don't know what he did.
He came with a few engineers, right?
Well, yeah, they had little tripods, and they did something. I don't know. They were.
Well,
I remember seeing a picture and the little tripods. They were looking through.
Well, those are engineers.
Okay, I don't know.
Those are civil engineers.
Okay.
Let her tell.
And then my two sisters came to the United States
For what? For vacation?
for vacation or whatever. Got sick.
Auntie Sauda came up here and she got sick, and then my grandmother came up.
And my grandmother came.
Right,
Okay, and then my mother came to visit.
right.
In a boat.
Well, with a family.
Yeah, and that part is fuzzy in my mind. Okay.
Okay, with a family. Ladies never went anywhere unescorted in those days. The family was coming to the United States, so my mother came with them to visit. Okay, then on the way back, this is what she told me. On the way back, she met my father on the boat. And when they got back,
They had a boat romance.
that was, no, I don't know if those are romance. I can't even say that. She didn't say. My mother was such a primitive, proper lady. She,
The baby.
she won't fall.
Hey, Monique.
She's like a little Billy Jean.
Now you gonna tell?
a nice sight.
Wait, Monique, hey.
And what's the rest of the story?
Hey! Oh, look at that fire!
The hot air balloon. You have to get up.
Oh, my
Oh,
God.
put more heat because it's dropping down.
You can actually see that fire.
Putting heat.
I think he's trying to get up. Well, stay up and make these nice.
He's trying to get over all this stuff. Maybe come down the racetrack or on the beach.
Oh, my God. Look at that.
Wouldn't that be fun?
Oh, that's a nice picture.
Like a ball. You know the auction, Mom. They have hot air balloons.
Oh, is that right?
Right. And then on the Goodyear
Oh,
balloon.
hey, they're practicing. I mean, they're probably practicing for it.
Mommy! Mommy!
They're probably practicing for it.
Mommy! Mommy!
A nice picture.
Say, Mommy, Mommy, then you don't want that.
Were you already supposed to do that one?
Look at, you see that guy on the side?
The hot air balloon is gone.
No, you hear that fire? You hear it?
Yeah. You know what? They were parked in Del
you
Mar
doing,
one
brother?
night after I got through teaching a class and I called
Look at the
Michael.
balloon.
What happened
We
to Tony?
sat there in the parking lot.
Oh, no,
watching
he's
them.
supposed to
Two
come.
months ago, They were still on the ground and the big
I
thing
talked to
was
Rita,
inflated at
and
night.
they were going to come in the afternoon. They said.
Lit up like a candle.
He was watering the plants outside, you know. And I
Well,
called.
he's going to stay overnight, so he's not a big rush.
Yes, he said about 4 days.
Yeah.
4 days off. Till the bucket is around this area.
Yeah. Yeah, he was saying he was going to stay with him.
Stopped over a bucket. Someplace in the beach.
No, I don't.
And you
Wait
could
for it.
see all the, we saw about 10 balloons crossing all over.
Was he coming down in the parking lot in a racetrack or what?
There's a freeway.
It looks like it's at the freeway, but I think it's at the racetrack.
The racetrack is on this side, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, I see.
Maybe they got a city park out there or something.
Start with a dissertation.
With the computer.
I did.
How they do that on TV?
Oh, they do?
Yeah. Oh, gosh.
No, I
They
haven't
did
seen
it on that same movie, on that
Kinda neat.
series.
Gobble, gobble,
And all
gobble.
their dances
Gobble,
were
gobble, gobble.
computerized. They just
Gobble,
sort
gobble,
of,
gobble.
got 'em
Quack,
on
quack,
computer.
quack,
I'm not looking up at the camera, David.
Oh, yeah.
No, you're supposed to be looking at the.
Let's see, it's pretty faint.
No, I didn't see that.
Gobble, 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 gobble.
But Ben is beginning
Gobble, gobble,
to
gobble, gobble.
get off
Quack,
the
quack,
TV
quack,
with
quack.
that thing.
Hey, turkey.
And,
You're
he's
supposed to be
doing a great
going
job.
gobble,
Looks like
gobble,
a crook.
gobble. I'm
Hi,
supposed to be
Ben.
going quack, quack, quack.
Turn over and shoot Jim.
Oh, you want to play that way?
What about Salvador Dali? He
You
jumps
want
out of the
serious
vehicle.
reason.
Oh, yeah, jump
What are you
out.
going to do when they interview you?
Well, I'm going to say, no, 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 no.
What are you going to jump out of?
Yeah, like the virgin, right?
No, no, yeah.
You're really eccentric.
Take a look
Really,
at your
that's me. All artists are, though.
Not really.
Most of them are.
Not really. Actually, I do believe that there is really a touch
What did you want me to talk about?
In everywhere.
Oh,
What do you think
the
of all
North
this
Country's
gibberish
a
that's
hard
going on
country,
here?
and mother's a bloody brood. Icy arms hold hidden charms for the greedy, sinful as
I
me.
know it.
Strong men rust in the golden dust that smothers the Northland soul. But the wickedest born from the pole to the horn was a hermit, a shark too sure.
Yeah, I do.
Love it. Who was that by?
You know what it is with those guys there?
I don't know. I think Anon.
Jim Boy.
You sure it wasn't George?
I don't know if I can do that. You know, I heard a lot of
Anon wrote that.
It's it.
Were you in
Take a
that
pee,
moment
Pancho.
was when your mother and father went back.
Go on.
Right on the umbrella.
Then what happened? Why did they
Come on,
come back
Pancho,
to
make
town?
some pee-pee. Not on top of your auntie's leg, though.
I don't know why, and it's always been a mystery to me. But I remember my mother saying, because you know, in the days when I was a young girl, they had these little camisole shirts. You know, they're back in style again, little camisoles. Okay, and I remember that I had this little camisole. And my mother said she left her clothes, her beautiful camisole, hanging on the clothesline. And they had to go so fast, they had to flee because the revolutionaries were after him. And I
my
never
father's
could
family.
understand. They were after the family. Well, I don't know that.
Yeah.
Where they were in Guadalajara, Mexico City, or
My
where?
mother
or
told
where?
us about that
Yeah,
era
I
in
don't know
1917, the
I
war.
don't
It
know.
was born in 1918.
But I remember her telling me they had to sleep. So when we were in Mexico, I asked this cousin. She is not my cousin. Her mother was my cousin. She is the daughter of my cousin. Okay, I asked her. I said, you know, I never understood why your father was in the administration, your grandfather was in the administration, and he didn't have to leave the country. Why did my father have to leave? He was not in the administration. He was just of the family. She said, oh, yes, he did. Mi abuelito, she says, went to Cuba. And my uncle and my abuelito's brother went to New Orleans. And then her husband said, y mi abuelito pardoned them.
He was the president.
Pardoned them.
That was his
And
grandfather.
I said, pardon them? What? Why pardon them? And let them back in the country. And I said to myself, you know, I thought maybe I did not want to pursue that. Why? Because we were all talking, it was kind of jumbled, and Dolores was asking, you remember this? Her saying
I remember.
that? This has always stuck in my mind. And I said, what were they doing? Because this was an administration of Porfirio Diaz. Well, the reason that they had to leave, well, I really don't know, you know, how my father was involved in it, because she never told me, and I don't remember. I was too young to question it. Had I been older, I would have pursued it. But I was just not old enough to be able to, you know, to absorb all this. So anyway, she said that she left her little clothes up there, and she had a little, you know, little camisole like I had. I just bought. But this was the administration of Porfirio Diaz, which he ruled Mexico for 34 years, and he was like a dictator. So the people finally, you know, and corruption and the whole thing, you know, very oppressed.
Come on.
And so naturally, the people, you know, this is why people have revolutions.
Right.
So I never could understand, you know, why. And like I say, I asked the cousin, and she's, the father, her husband, said, my abuelito let them pardon them and let him in the country.
What was the
Now, did she use the word pardon?
Yeah, she said that.
She used the word pardon.
She exiled, they were exiled back to Mexico, she said.
And see, her grandfather, his grandfather was President Obregón.
Obregón,
This second cousin is married to a grandson of a president of Mexico.
And if you know,
why wasn't your father part of
dog from the front, honey?
No, I know.
The second president of Mexico was named Guerrero, Vicente Guerrero.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Or the first one.
I didn't know that.
Oh, but that
Why
was
wasn't,
He was no relation of him.
why wasn't your father pardoned?
Oh, yeah.
Well, see, no. Well, because my father had married my mother and had come to the United States and stayed here. Because by then she had two sisters and a mother here. See, and so she stayed here. My father stayed.
But he wanted to go back to Mexico.
He never went back.
No,
my sorrow is that I was never able to give them money to go back.
No,
you
but
know,
your father.
I'm sure they would have
But my
wanted to go
father
back.
died with wanting to go back. He raised up his family in Mexico.
Well, that was his
Desire.
wish, and I
When your
remember.
father and mother left, Dolores once told me a story about him walking out and shots going off.
Oh, when they first,
And
yeah.
then Margaret
Well,
Visit.
the
never heard this,
revolutionaries were
Kathy.
everywhere.
I heard that your father would not bow down. He would walk, and he says, if it was my time to go, then it's my time.
and that's my father.
Okay, well, tell
very
that
proud.
story.
I don't know that story.
Well, how did you hear it?
I don't
Well,
know where
because
she-
my mother had told me that when they were fleeing, the bullets were flying all over. And my father, the bullets were flying all over, and my father was walking straight like a statue. And she said,
Oh, that's
"For
right, I
God's
heard that.
sake," she
Now I
said,
remember.
"Put your head down, you're going to get killed."
Yes.
He says,
I remember
no,
that now.
he walked real proud, and he says, if it's meant, because he was a military man, he said, if it's meant to be, it's meant, if it's meant for me to
Yeah,
get hit,
I remember hearing
I will
that.
get hit. He says, I will not bow my head down.
Yeah, to the revolutionaries.
When you start, it already happened. And there's no sense ducking already. And a person's normal reaction is duck. The way you duck for. It already went by. You see, he knew that. He knew that. See?
But more shots could be
When
coming.
you hear them, when you give it go by, it already went by white duck. See? And for her to duck, it said, well,
For him, it was my
see, it says, don't duck now, it already went by, you know. The same thing with the thunder. You hear the thunder, it already, the lightning already happened. That's the noise you hear.
We've never been in a revolution, so we have no idea what it was like. It must have been horrendous, you know. I mean, you read about it.
wasn't pregnant with you at the time?
No. See, they left. See, they were in 1913. I thought it was 1912, but evidently it was 1913. I wasn't born in 1916. They came here the following year, I believe. 3 years. I think my mother said they were not married more than a year before they left. And I was born here.
Yeah.
Right. I was pregnant. See that picture of me my mother pregnant?
Okay.
That is in Orange County in Anaheim.
All right.
Which one's that?
The one where my father alone.
No, and
Oh, I
your
see.
grandmother's there.
Oh, and my
My
grandmother.
grandmother Tomasa
Oh.
is there, and that is in Anaheim.
What I need to know for to get the records is what year did your grandmother Tomasa die?
Oh, she went through your letters.
Oh, that was around 27, wasn't it? 25,
The year that
27?
Teresa was born?
Yeah, 27.
Well, I don't know about that, but I remember when she died.
Right, 27.
But see, I didn't know
must have been.
exactly what time,
They said I
but
was
I
2
remember
years
going
old.
over there once with my mother. But I don't...
Maria Maria.
Right, yeah, right there, and I used to
She's the only one that had a piano. They were
Right,
rich.
right.
They had a piano, and I remember when Leonzo, they found out about Leonzo. Oh, you wanted to know about Leonzo, right?
Yes, I want to know
Okay.
about it.
This is
No,
the
it must have
brother
been
that
around 29.
disappeared.
When did we move over there?
Where?
To Kern?
No.
When our tamale factory burned.
Bird.
29, wasn't it?
No. Okay, wait.
No,
Let's
but you
start
want to
in
say when
order.
Tomasa died, it was after that.
Was after that.
Because I remember walking over there, so she was alive.
The town.
But if you know when you went to Kern, when did you went to Kern? I've heard of
Okay,
it,
wait a minute.
1929.
Born in the tamale factory.
Right.
Because I remember the carpenters were building the
All right. Now look, you know how you can go back? I remember I was, now, when you took me to Hamill, when you took me over there, I was a Brannick. The first grade, I was 6 years old. Was it?
So was I.
When did you take me to school?
You didn't go to school in Brandy because I'll tell you why my
Yes,
father
Yeah,
you
to
did.
didn't let me go to school till I was 8 years old.
Really? Why?
What?
Till I was 8 years old because he said that the children don't absorb before that.
They
So I
they
went-
so now.
So they took me. They took
That
me.
is so. That is so.
He's absolutely right.
That is so now.
Let me tell you about that. Let me tell you about
Come
that.
on, Joey.
We're getting the story all screwed up.
Huh? What do you mean they don't absorb before they age?
Not for everyone. Not everyone. Not some kids do. But not
No,
everyone.
but you're conditioned by going early. You're conditioned to learn.
Telling everyone to
So consequently, let me tell you what happened.
Kathy, the baby
I'm
is
not going to tell you. I think
stop on the pouring there.
why?
That's 7 up.
There's
nothing
nothing
to
to
can.
Let me mess up.
No, let me tell you. Children
You want a
absorb.
cracker?
And if they give children just play things and creative things to
One,
do
one.
until they're 8 or 9,
One.
rather than
One.
academic things,
One.
children will
One.
learn in 6 months what it took them first, second, third, and fourth grade to learn. They'll learn within 6 months
Well,
without any problem at all.
consequently,
It
Julie,
took them 3 years to learn.
let me tell you how I went through grammar school.
There you go. There you go, Benny.
Lucy and me. By that time, I guess
Lucy,
they had
Margaret, the story of her.
to bring us to school. So they took Lupe and me to school. And in those days, they had little Quonset huts. You know, they were the school on Brannick. Was it on Brannick? Up on the hill?
Hamill. That was Hamill.
Hamill. Okay.
That's where I went.
The school on Hamill is the first school I went, and my first teacher was Mrs. Schoen. I remember that. I remember that.
What grade did
Had
they
you
put
been
you
younger,
in?
you
And they
remembered.
put me in kindergarten, where everybody else started. Okay. The second day, I went to the first grade. The third day, I went to the second grade.
Wow.
See? And I didn't know a word of English. I don't know how I had got there.
And laughter.
Grade. And went into
Maybe I kind of
junior
your
high.
age.
What?
Due to your age.
I was skipped the whole 6th grade and went right into junior high. To
She was
Garfield.
so smart, that's why.
Well, evidently I must have had something up here. I don't remember being that smart, but I had the knowledge or something. I must have
Well,
picked
your
it up.
father must
Yes, you know, the first seed, I must have gotten some of you.
Part of it. I know.
Well, see, my father saw
What's it
they
got to say about
bought
the
Smart is one of the
my
best.
Spanish-speaking paper. I taught myself how to read Spanish. But he also bought the American paper, and I taught myself how to read English. And he taught me arithmetic, the timetable.
At home before you went to
Right.
school.
Oh, yes,
You see
everything.
that?
See, my
He
father
taught me
was-
all that.
Read the English, but you can't pronounce it, or
Oh, yeah.
couldn't,
Oh, yeah, but
communicate
I
maybe.
didn't speak English like
Because
we do
numbers
now.
are numbers,
My
whether
father
Spanish or
spoke
English or
very
whatever.
slow. I don't remember how it's spoken.
Yeah,
Don't
you read
ask
it too,
me. I don't remember that.
You
But
don't
I
believe it.
remember that.
Hey, listen,
This is a cute
You
story.
think? Yeah, you're in it.
Look at the story.
Anyway, this school was really cute.
Hamel?
Yeah, Hamel School. That's before they had bells.
Bell?
You were very privileged. You got the little bell. You know, they gave you the little bell, huh? And you went around tingling the little bell all over. This was recess. Then you got the bell again, and you went tingling all over. Oh, you don't. You're not that much younger.
the erasers. I used to love the eraser.
we used to clean them like that.
And we used to
ever
do it.
And my father had beautiful.
They
That's
have a
why
machine
Linda and
now for
Dolores
that.
still have. I don't
You
have.
have a beautiful
I
hand.
had. Because
All
my
of you
hand,
have.
I can't even
All of
write
you
anymore.
have.
You notice
I
that
know.
I print.
Yeah, I know.
I can't write.
I know.
My
I
hand
have
is
trouble
bad.
writing.
But anyway, he had beautiful handwriting. So, you know, in the old days, you did rounds, up and down, up and down. I was a champion.
Oh, boy.
I had the best up and downs and the best circles. I don't remember.
What did you do? Just tell the audience. I
This
didn't go
before I
in
went
and
to school.
Yeah.
Okay.
She come and sleep.
So here I was scratching my head.
Oh, I see.
I had piojos.
Ah, keep on going with it.
I had everybody I know. I had piojos. You know what piojos is? Lice. In case you don't know what it is, it's lice.
Okay, go on.
Okay, so since all these, you know, they come in special places, so my mother and father wouldn't get. My God, they're gonna shut down their business. So you know what my father did? Military style, shaved my head off.
Oh!
They didn't know how else to cope with it.
What
Too
age
bad
were
you
you?
didn't put that on video.
Honey, I must have been about, I don't remember. I must have been about 5 or 6.
But do you remember going around with the bald head?
Wait a minute. Yes.
No.
My mother made me a very pretty little bonnet with little ruffles around here. And I put, I was in school. So
Oh, God, look at this. Here it is.
I was in school because I had to go to school.
Honey, you're missing. Oh, it started again.
No. We'll play it.
And it's so jolly. You know, I do remember.
Yeah. Keep going.
Give her another drink.
Well, anyway, give me another drink and I'll remember more. No, I don't have any more gin. I don't want any more.
You got any stories, Joey?
What do you want then?
You got any stories?
No, I'll have about Well, anyway, my mother made me this pretty little bonnet.
Yes.
And I had to go to school like this. Now, you can imagine how there must have been to a child to go to school in this bonnet with a shaved head. Well, the kids used to call me Baldy, and who knows, I don't remember what they called me, but they called me names, and I used to come home crying. Well, my father, anytime anything happened to us, I remember myself, you know, afterwards when I had my kids, how I was with my kids. I was like a tiger. My father marches me to the school and tells the principal that the reason he shaved my head off is because I had lice, and I got them from the girl in front that had the lice coming down her head. And that he had a business and he couldn't jeopardize it. And that's why he shaved my head. Well, after that, nobody made me believe me. Let me tell you another story.
How cute. Keep going.
When my mother was going to have Terry, we were very poor. Very, very poor. We didn't have any money for Terry.
Oh. Like when I was born.
We're getting there.
Honey, you know what? I remember when you were
Well,
born.
tell Terry and then we'll...
Well, anyway,
Mama, when I was born.
my father
was in better shape when I was born.
You know what, sister? I don't remember you being
Oh.
born.
Poor Dolores.
Walked in the door.
I was such an ugly donkey. Everybody wanted to forget
I remember Manuel being born. Of course, I couldn't remember Dolores. Oh, let me tell you another story about the earrings. But anyway, Lupe and I remember. I remember my little brother crawling, like I told you, the one that died. I don't remember the funeral. I remember Manuel being born. I remember Tony, that they were building the tamale factory. My father built buildings, you know, all had little closets. He built all these buildings. They had the carpenters, and they were building on the roof, and the carpenters had to leave so Tony could be delivered.
Oh, my God.
I remember that.
My poor husband. I wonder maybe he got hit in the head or something. Are you serious?
That was a pretty good one.
I know you can't forget everything you tell me. You were just telling Benny last night.
You know, I think I'm losing my mind, my memory. I forget everything. I can't think even of a name, you know. He said that somebody was asking him
That's
at
old
work.
age. That's vanilla.
I don't, gee, honey, I mean, I'm bad. I think you're a little worse. I tell him, poor guy. I don't know.
Tell about.
Did he go somewhere?
Okay, now where was I? Okay.
You were going to tell about when Terry was born.
Yeah.
You were real
Okay,
poor.
my father gets this. Tony, do you remember that? Lupe remembers, I bet you.
I don't know.
Is his car there?
My father gets this brainstorm that we're going to go pick nuts down in one
He went with
nut
somebody
farm.
somewhere.
Listen,
Oh,
We're
I
going
remember
to
that.
pick nuts in
you
a...
weren't even there.
No, you weren't there. That we were going to pick nuts in some nut farm,
at the band,
you know,
then
down
he's
here
asleep.
where they have, not nut farms, but nut groves. That's what I should say. Okay, so we go out there and we camp in this tent.
Sit down there.
We take
Your
this,
mother's pregnant, maybe?
and my mother is pregnant at home with this child, my Teresa, and she's, you know, we're making money for her to go to the hospital.
Oh, my goodness.
And so Lupe and I are the oldest, naturally, and my father was so particular about his tortillas, they had to be crisp, and Lupe had to stand there and hold.
That's awesome.
We had to make this,
How old were you then, sir?
sister,
Well,
brother.
when Terry was born.
Well,
and
that was
We're 9 years
1927,
apart.
16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23,
Okay.
24, 25,
10,
26,
11
27.
years.
That was 11 years.
11
Okay,
years.
go on.
So here's these, okay, and Lupe what was 9,
Right.
and she stood there and did this to the tortilla.
Go on.
Because it had to be crisp. We made tortillas. We cooked out there, and you know my father never went in the kitchen, so he knew nothing about cooking. We are the two peons that did all the cooking. 2 little kids, 9, 11. Okay, but I'll tell you, it was our salvation. We were very happy. We'd get up there, and they had hooks. And they'd hook these trees, and then we scramble like little possums, you know, and little squirrels. And stick them all in. And the more bags we made, the more money we made. I don't remember what they paid us. Anyway, we did that. But then we had to go to school. And we used to pass an orange grove. And Margaret, of course, has to eat oranges all the way to school. And the only time you can go to the bathroom is in recess.
Oh, are you kidding?
So I put my hand up because I had diarrhea with all the oranges. So I put my hand up, and it was not recess, and I had to go to the bathroom. And she said, no, I couldn't go to the bathroom.
Oh, my God.
So I poo-pooed on my pants. So I get off the bus where my father came to get me, and here I come. You know, from the bus, my father. What's wrong? So I told him, boy, I'll tell you. He marched me to the principal the next day. Like this. The next day, you let this girl go to the bathroom when she wants to go. I mean, you know, he spoke good English, but he had an accent. He was broken.
I never knew that.
Well, honey, you don't.
I never inquired about that, you know?
You weren't even expected to even be born by
No,
then.
I know, but I mean, in my life, I've never asked how well he could speak English.
Yeah.
He spoke good English. Well, first of all, see, anybody that knows their grammar in one language can pick it up
He
another.
knew about 5 languages. He knew.
I don't know how many
French
languages he spoke. He spoke, I think he spoke none of this garbage that they spoke around the neighborhood.
Well, you're the only one that speaks it right, really, correctly.
Well, I don't know.
You're just
I know,
I'm atrocious, I know.
Well,
No,
anyway,
de Benny. No, de Manuel.
anyway, let me tell you another cute story.
Okay.
My father, all the little Mexican girls have little holes in their ears, and they all have how do you call it? Arracadas.
What
Okay.
are arracadas?
Little earrings.
Earrings.
I thought you called them holes in here.
No, loop earrings, like arracada.
Okay, so my father said only cannibals pierce their ears. His daughters were not going to have their ears
Mostly
pierced.
Mexican people have them, you know? Yeah, and he didn't believe in that.
So at
Only
that
cannibals.
time we lived in Gardena, and that
How
is
old
when
were you?
Manuel was a baby. We moved from up there in Temple Street to Gardena. Don't ask me why.
Was this before, Tony?
They had,
Yeah.
oh yeah, that was when Manuel was little. There's two stories.
Tony's a middle
There's
one.
two stories that I can tell you, and Lupe remembers one of
so
them.
many places.
Maybe she remembers both
That's
of
the
them.
first time. I didn't know we lived in
We
Anaheim.
used to live, there was nothing but Japanese gardens all around, and what was next to us was turnips. And why I like turnips to this day, I love them.
Yeah.
But these were all turnips, and don't ask me why two little girls had to pull all this poor Japanese garden's man's turnips and put them in boxes and put them next to our house. You know, we didn't even stop to realize that we'd be caught. Here comes a Jap, storming down, tells my father there's the boxes full of turnips that we had picked out of his garden. And he had fields of them, you know, he was a farmer.
That was horrible in my father's eyes.
Oh, yeah, you know, that
That's
anybody that
stealing.
stole anything. Anyway, we weren't stealing, we just were children.
Yeah.
So we took these my father took these boxes and cleaned them all up and fixed them all up so he could take them to the market. Another thing that happened in
Well,
Gardena.
what happened? Then he sold them and gave the money to the Japanese man?
No, he gave them back to him, all cleaned and
oh,
everything.
Right.
Then another thing that happened in Gardena that I remember so well is we used to have a kitchen table. You know, in the old days there was a big kitchen and there was always a table in the middle. Well, this lady that took care of us, my mother and father were working someplace or had a business or something. I don't remember exactly what now. But they were gone. So there was this Mexican lady who used to take care of us. Lupe and I, Emmanuel. And so she wanted to pierce our ears. And we got under the table because we said, no, we didn't want to pierce our ears. So when my father came home, he found us under the table. We were crying. Well, of course, she was sent hopping in no time. But anyway, he never wanted us to have our... To this day, I don't have my ears pierced. Because, you know, never did. Another thing I remember, that's where the Clausens. You remember the Clausens? You hear my father talk of the Clausens?
I'll tell you something.
They were...
I'll tell you something
Let me
about
hear.
the closet.
You tell this story here.
I'll tell you something about the closet.
Let me tell my story and then you tell yours.
All right. Go ahead.
Okay, my father played chess. And he had this, there was a neighbor that had a big, beautiful home.
Little Margaret plays chess.
Who?
Little Margaret.
And Margaret.
She plays chess.
Yeah. Well, my father was a very good chess player. I guess he was, because he played with everybody that he could.
Chess player.
Well, I don't know if he was champion, sister, but I know that he played a lot of chess. So anyway,
The Lord don't remember.
anyway, I remember him playing with this Mr. Clausen that had this big, huge house and had a hayloft. And I remember playing with the kids up in this hayloft.
Oh,
And I remember him wanting to take little pieces of hay and stick them in my youth.
what? Who?
Yeah. You know this little Clausen kid. You know how little children do.
Yeah.
They want to stick things in their yoo-hoo. Well, this Clausen kid wanted to put a piece of hay in my yoo-hoo. Well, I knew better than...
You want to play doctor?
For you who...
Anyway, I remember this hayloft. I remember my father going over there and playing chess.
What would you do with your yoo-hoo uncovered?
Huh?
What would you do with your yoo-hoo uncovered?
I don't remember what, but anyway, I remember him wanting to stick things. And Lupe, I remember Lupe was real, you know, más bícara than me, you know, and she, you know, she's the one that was always hauling me around. She was more picada than I was. Anyway,
You were more naive.
we were very little.
Yeah,
We
and
must
naive.
have been, yeah. Well, yeah.
So
I
what
was
did you do?
picada. Well, I don't remember. Maybe I let him put the.
How'd you be sad? Is that the story you remember? Oh my God! That's not
But this is interesting because Manuel has a story to tell.
Oh, Manuel has a story to
You see, when I was in the Army,
Move over, little brother.
when I was in the Army, and I was standing in the line, and they called my name, you know, my name's Guerrero, and there was a guy next to me, see? He said, you know, I heard that name Guerrero. I look at the guy, and this guy was a big, heavy-set guy. He said, who are you? And he mentioned his name Clausen. And he says, is your father named Clausen? He said, no, that was my grandfather. Well, is that right? Well, you know, my father used to, yeah, you know, my family, they always used to say, what happened to the Guerreros? When they went, where would they do? I said, what a coincidence. And I said, and I often, yeah, they often talk about the grandfather. He said, that was the grandfather. He said, no, he died already, see? But he heard the name, and he heard the name so often that right away it triggers him, you know? And I heard the name Clausen so many times, too. It did. And then I realized that was his grandfather, and he often talked about this family when they moved away. Whatever happened to these people, you know?
And that was a sign of the kid that put
No.
on my...
Yeah, well,
That was the second one.
That was the father? And that was the son.
That was the son.
It was the grandfather.
Yeah.
That was the kid?
Because Clausen, yeah. Because
And where
that
was
was
this?
his son.
Clausen's where?
But
In
this
Anaheim?
kid was his grandson that
This
your
Anaheim?
father
Where
met.
was it? Gardena? Where was it?
So his father, or?
Where was
No,
it?
it
Where
wouldn't
you
be his father. It
lived?
would be.
Was his the father of the
We're going to
kid
get
that...
this in order.
Oh, okay. Where did you
Auntie?
live at that time?
You know what's
In
confusing
Gardena.
is I want to know if when you came up to the United States, when your mother and father first came, before you were born, where did they live?
Well, I don't know where where they were living, the aunts and them. I
You said
imagine
Ohio.
my grandmother. By then, the aunts and the I really don't know.
But
I've
when you
never
were
heard
born,
where my mother and
You
father
were born
came
in
to.
Ohio.
But see,
but
the
your
reason
mother
I
and
was,
father lived in Anaheim first?
they came to Anaheim. Maybe they,
First?
I don't know where they came to. They must have come to where the mother and sisters were.
But you were born in your grandmother's house.
That is
But
right.
then you went back to Anaheim after you were born.
I imagine.
And where was Lucy born?
What does their birth certificate say? Does it say Ohio also?
I think it said Anaheim.
Anaheim?
Well,
I
maybe.
saw Anaheim on either Benigno's or
Is that
Lupe.
right?
What do you mean,
Well-
Ohio?
Ohio Street in L.A.
Oh, Ohio Street.
Well, see, that's around where the music center is now.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure that we could ever find any landmarks. You know, I think Benny took me there once and tried to find something. Didn't you, brother?
I don't remember.
I thought it was
somebody
Spring
did.
Street all the time.
No.
And then after that, then Benigno was born, and you don't know where you were then. When Manuel was born, where was Manuel?
You don't feel cold anymore.
I have an idea that my little brother that died was probably born there.
No, I'd rather be
Born where?
Be there, and that I don't know.
Kathy, have you shown
I
her
can't
that
say.
little booklet?
But I know Manuel was born
Yes,
there.
she's seen it before.
Manuel, does your birth certificate read Temple Street?
Yeah.
Temple Street.
Yeah.
And then after Manuel comes Tony.
Mine
And
was
we
Brannick.
were already in the tamale factory
Mine
on
said
Brannick.
Brannick.
Okay, so a few.
Then you were born
When?
on Brannick.
What did your father do before you owned a tamale factory?
He had the restaurant.
Okay, so first when he came up here, he started a restaurant.
Oh, I don't
No.
think he did, no.
No,
I don't
he-
think my father worked
They
for a while.
they said that he went into oil wells, that he had put some money in.
Well, that was after he made
There's
money,
Mary,
and he bought a Pierce Arrow, and he...
Pierce Arrow.
Yeah, in those days.
told me about it.
What's up here? Oh,
That was a car in those days. He
God,
bought...
that was
this
an
was before you were
expensive
born
car.
or after you were born?
No, that was when they had the restaurant. See, they made a lot of money during the First World War in their restaurant.
Okay.
And so he
So the
had...
first job that you remember, he was working in a restaurant.
He was working... They had that restaurant on Main Street.
Come on, Panchita.
And my mother did the cooking.
And then after the what happened to the restaurant?
I don't know.
They sold it to get a tamale
I
factory.
don't know what happened.
But after the restaurant, then they had a tamale
The
factory
next thing I remember, they had a tamale factory on Brannick.
in Granite, in L.A.
Well, down in East Los Angeles.
and that's where Tony was born, in the tamale
That's
factory.
where he was, in the tamale factory.
Well, did they
Now,
live in the tamale
were yours
factory?
Reed's Brannick? Brannick. Well, you were born there too.
Right.
Well,
But you
did
know,
they have...
it's funny that I don't remember you being
Okay,
born there.
let me tell you what I remember about my father. I don't know if you guys remember this, because I was only 7 when my father died, right? This is what I remember. Okay, I don't remember the fire or anything like that in the restaurant, because evidently
I remember that one.
okay, they stayed broke because they owned the business but not the land.
The tamale factory?
Yeah,
I didn't
they
hear
owned
that
the-
fire. What happened?
Okay,
I don't remember
They
that.
owned the thing, but you know what the problem was there?
somebody made
It was-
a crooked deal on
No, it was partially burned, so the insurance company gave him a partial, and that was not enough to repair the thing. You see, they would not pay the whole thing. It was partly burned. They'd only give a partial of it. See, it didn't. That was not enough to repair the whole place. But I remember when there was saying smoke and every damn thing, and I ran across the street. Remember, us three, and I fell in that ditch when they were working in that street. I fell down in that ditch. Remember, we went across the street in that barber shop.
It happened through the middle of the night?
Yeah,
The fire?
yeah. It was, well,
You guys were there?
in the house, right? The guy emptied his place and everything. And he deliberately burned his place for the insurance. See, but then he knocked at the door. He said, "You're on fire."
That guy
Eh,
did?
Yeah, right. And then we opened the door. We all run out, you know. And then working in that ditch, and out in the dark, I fell in there, and then I got out of that ditch, and I went out across the street. We went across the street and stayed there temporarily overnight there till daytime. And they came in and looked at the place. We lived there for about a few weeks, I think, and then we moved over here.
Okay, let me tell
Because
you,
the place was open, and one side it was cold and everything.
Manuel,
And
let
then
me
they move out
remember
and
what
one
I
over
remember
here,
as
and
a
then
little
they-
girl. I don't know if I dreamt this, but I think I know, I remember that it was nighttime, and my grandmother had owned that little house that she had died, I guess, and my Tio Manuel made the little shack. Okay, my mother, my grandmother used to babysit the family, okay? You us guys, when my mother was busy and my
remember my
father,
grandmother?
no. But my mother had told me that my mother used to pay her to take care of you. And with that money, the savings, she bought that little property on Kern Avenue. So it was my grandmother. She had bought the property.
No, they deeded it to us.
No, listen to me. Listen to me this, because it didn't belong to my mother, it belonged to the state at the time.
No,
Okay.
only my grandmother.
And let me tell you what had
You're
happened.
talking about Kern Avenue?
Yeah, that's why we live there free. Okay, let me tell you. We moved in the middle of the night. I remember my father, we had a Model T Ford, right? My father piled us all in, and it was dark, and my father was with matches like this, going around looking at the place like this. It was just a three-room house, right? So my father was going around like matches like this, looking around to see. And I remember how frightened I was, you know, because he was going to put us in this dark place.
Yeah,
that
we
was-
had
it
real
was-
nice
you
cars
know,
in the tamale. See,
I
what
mean,
he
we had
did in
had
the
a nice
tamale
house.
factory.
Imagine, we had had a nice house, and we came to a terrible little nothing. It was so
And it was in a ditch.
poor and in a poor area, and
it's a ditch.
yeah, and it was awful. And then I remember that they didn't pay no rent or nothing, because it had been belonged to my aunt, and nobody paid taxes.
No,
It
belonged
had
to
been
my
a loan.
grandma.
My grandmother, and it had been a loan, and it had been lost for taxes, because that's what happened when Manuel bought years later. That my mother see it was the state property, and then when my mother got finally state aid, when the kids were a little older, and so when the boys came back and they wanted to build my mother a little house,
They remodeled it.
my brother Manuel went back and paid all the taxes
And did Tony see the
of all the
picture with
years
the rumpus?
back, which was not much. But that's how I remember the house.
So, okay, what happened was you had a nice place in the tamale factory. You had a home there.
My father was very ingenious. You know, he built this tamale factory, and they had electric mixers. In those days, you know, my father rigged all this stuff up. Electric mixers that mix this masa.
Like his son.
Yeah, very ingenious. And then in the back, look at there you are.
I think that you have like
Isn't that cute?
Have you seen that, honey?
You've seen that, haven't you?
You're so cute.
You haven't.
Here's your glasses.
How could you have
Go
not
on,
seen that?
go on and see about the tamale factory.
Well, anyway, in the back,
You're the little
we had
capitón.
our bedroom quarters. They had a bedroom, and then we had like a
She's seen with my glasses.
like a
Oh, yeah.
dormitory.
You're
Right.
the baby.
And We all had our little bed, and we all had our little built-in.
Who had this one?
And then it had a shell on top.
for
A shell
Benny had them
where
all
we
the
put
time.
things.
you
I
make
remember
up
that
who's
shell.
the ones that I kept
But
asking
everybody
you,
had their
everybody
own
said they
little
had the pictures.
built-in and their own little bed.
Yeah, it's Manuel.
And
No,
there
it
was,
isn't.
you know,
This is
there wasn't that many of us. It wasn't
you,
all
honey,
of us.
the baby.
That's
You're
right.
the baby.
Then there was a fire.
Yeah.
Here, honey,
Well,
put
that
your
was at
glasses
the
on.
Tamale
That's
Factory.
Jim.
Here, Pete, this is
That's
what you're
John.
talking about, honey.
Yeah.
That's Caroline.
And where did you move to after the tamale factory?
Emmanuel's, I went to the
Well,
left.
to this house of Grandma's because we had no place to go.
And
And
then
it was
you
this
lived
little
there.
shack. And then the boys redid it.
Yeah, I see.
So
when
then
Mama-
that's where you grew up, in this
Manuel
house.
looks exactly
yeah.
like Cindy.
What street was that up in?
There's another
That's
David
there.
there.
Cute.
Yeah,
What
it
did-
was
what did-
sold.
what did
They
you
sold
do?
it, you know,
Then
years
David.
after my mother died, a couple
But you
years.
never moved again from there.
I have a picture of
Well,
David
I got
and
Margaret,
married.
is this you?
I left.
and they look identical.
That's me.
And that's Lupe
Lupe.
and Jean
Eugene.
and
Lorraine.
Lorenza.
And that's Lupe Guzman.
Lupe Guzman, that's
That's
John.
Manuel.
That's Manuel, looks just like Cindy. Jim and Jean and myself.
No, that's Carol. That's Jean here.
Oh, that's Jean here and Carol.
And that's you.
We gotta make another shoot another.
Oh, I
one.
would like
Carol,
one
Carol,
of those.
Yeah, I'll get a copy for this.
I don't think I have one of those. I think my children would.
No,
like
I didn't
Betty
have one.
get one of those?
If you,
And
I'll
you
tell you
go
what
to
happened.
Teresa
Okay.
Benny.
Somebody took her.
Benny stole them.
I stole them.
It was Benny.
See, that's the way we've all done. We steal from each
Okay.
other because
No, but what we
we
should
live
do,
like me.
what we
I'm
should do
old
is put all the pictures on the table and duplicate them. And everybody get one.
Yeah, right.
That's what we'll do. I'm
Because
gonna make
we
a
really-
copy for everybody.
Well,
but
see, like my children would like to have a picture.
Sure.
Especially my daughter and granddaughter, they really would.
I know.
it.
They like to looking like Kathy. Is instead of me doing it, Kathy
Well,
is doing
Ben, are
all
you still
these things.
shooting?
You're great.
Yeah.
You're lucky you have a
Did you say
daughter-in-law
something,
that
Peter?
cares.
what I want to know is, what did your
Peter,
father do
to say
for
something.
work after the tamale factory burned down?
Not much.
I don't remember you doing anything. My mother worked in a sewing factory.
He was sick, honey, by that time.
Yeah, he was
He
very
became
sick.
very ill.
Very ill. He had.
See, that's why he
He
looked.
finally died, and he had terrible hemorrhoids, bleeding all the time. He didn't do anything. I don't remember. My mother went to work in a sewing factory,
stayed
and
at
she
home.
made
Because he was
she made samples. See, this is where I got into my mother.
Oh, here we are at the San Diego Zoo with David.